I did want to mention Double Eagle's density altitude earlier this morning was 6,900. It is currently
Crispy.
It's hard.
Cream, the famous donut maker, sponsors this morning glow. So you tie all that together, and we set up about 13 balloons out there, and we call it the Krispy Kreme Glow.
Yes, and actually I was one of the original Krispy Kreme pilots when
were
they
you?
started. Yes, yeah, and it's a lot of fun doing that. A lot of my friends were kind of, well, you know, don't you like flying amongst all those friends? And I'm like, yeah, I do, but you know, you get some great shots because you're off the field first, right after dawn patrol, and while all your friends are launching, you're driving back in the field, so you're already at your tailgate before your friends even leave the field.
Yeah, it was a few years ago I kind of figured out, okay, so you get dawn patrol and they're up and out, but sometimes they have to wait, people are waiting for the sunrise. The Krispy Kreme guys get stood up and they get a lot of photos, a lot of coverage about being, and then you're right, they're the first ones off the field. And so they're up and out, not quite as much traffic out there in the sky, all that other stuff, so yeah.
Well, and you have to really manage your fuel because, you know, you're sitting there sometimes for about 30 to 45 minutes before. So some of these guys will have an external tank that they have to actually strap in and then switch out. Unfortunately, I used to fly Fireflies, and there were really no external tanks. So you had to really manage your fuel and watch what you were doing, or you had a really short flight out of Fiesta Field.
Right.
And it sounds to me in our ears that the flag is green and the crowd is cheering. So we will have balloons today.
Well, we already do. We already have
a lot of balloons today.
Yeah, there they are.
Yes.
Doing an all burn in the sky.
And there are those lights you were speaking of.
The marker lights.
The marker lights. Those you must fly with those because now you are an aircraft flying and you have to be identified because these balloons do not have transponders in them. So although
and like that shot, you can't see. I mean, you'd think with this big flame, well, yeah, when you're burning, you're very visible. But when you're not burning, which is most of the time, that's what you look like in the sky. So without those marker lights,
And remember, you're only going 7 to 9 knots, where you could have a plane going several hundred miles an hour. Yes.
Exactly. So, Okay, we're getting, today we also talked about, there's a couple things going on today with our mass ascension. It's kind of our Memorial Day as well, so we pilots and everyone remembers all of those folks that we have lost over the last year, and the pilots have kind of white banner streamer type of things that they would write the names of those folks on there as well. But on the happier side of things, it's also our remote control day. One of our 4 days where we'll have our remote controls for our
Fiestas de los Globitos.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I know.
That one always just trips up my tongue there a little bit. So.
Right.
But
and there's actually a special bond between who sponsors that and myself actually.
So we happen to have the mayor of the city of Las Vegas, New Mexico. I always have to say that because everyone thinks Las Vegas, Nevada. But City of Las Vegas, Mayor David Romero is here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ted. Good morning, Art. How are you guys doing this morning? It's
great.
We're great. How are you?
Good. Beautiful morning. You know, after yesterday, and we didn't have the mass ascension, so we're hoping. I heard you say that we have the green light, so exciting today.
We've got the green flag and everything. Now, this is the second or third year that the City of Las Vegas has sponsored our Globitos. Why do you guys do that?
This is actually the third year that we've been a sponsor of Balloon Fiesta. You know, after our first year with Globitos, it was just amazing, all the appreciation that we got from all the pilots within, you know, the Globitos, you know, all the pilots that they had. So we decided to, you know, have another run at it, sponsor them. It's an amazing experience to be a part of Balloon Fiesta, to be a sponsor here within, you know, every year that we've been here. You know, we've had some great success in marketing our community. You know, we've had some people go and visit us, and that was our goal. And every year we seem to get more and more visitors because of Balloon Fiesta.
So tell us about the City of Las Vegas. Why would we come visit you? Not that, I mean, I know why, but you tell our audience why we should come.
Well, first of all, you know, I know, like, as you mentioned, right, we have to make sure we say Las Vegas, New Mexico. We always get confused, you know, beyond New Mexico.
With that other place.
Yeah, well, we call ourselves the original Las Vegas, founded in 1835. Las Vegas, Nevada was in 1905. So, you know, we call ourselves the original Las Vegas. You know, there's so much that we have I think we're a hidden gem within New Mexico. We have 900 historic buildings. Montezuma Castle. I don't know if you guys have ever, been in the area, seen it.
Well, actually, I have a personal connection to Las Vegas. That's where my family is from.
Oh,
We're
okay.
actually from Mesa, New Mexico, which is out towards Trementina.
Yeah.
And my grandparents had a home right there on 6th Street in Las Vegas, one of those big historic homes you were talking about. So as a child, I'm very familiar with Las Vegas, and I really love that place.
Well, then you understand the beauty that we, that we hold there in Las Vegas. Like I said, a lot of history within our community. You know, we were the Wild West before Dodge City. We had the Doc Holidays, the Billy the Kids. So there's just so much that we have that we thought the perfect opportunity to market ourselves is here at Balloon Fiesta. I mean, where else are you going to touch so many people in 8 days? You know what I mean?
So my understanding is you also have a little booth along our main street?
Yeah, as I mentioned, this is our third year. We used to have a 10 by 10. We've expanded to a 20 by 10. So we're, like I said, we have a lot of success. We have some screens on there to have little discussion videos that talk about our community. So everybody that's there and that's walking down Main Street, stop by our tent. We have some official city pins that I'll give you here.
Nice.
Right before I
Nice.
leave.
Thank you.
It's just amazing the way I've been watching your interviews and. It's a family. Once you start here, it's a family. There's just so much going on. You build a connection with everybody that's involved here. So many volunteers.
Yeah.
Well, I have a funny true story about family. In the confusion of Las Vegas, I actually had an uncle who was there, and his future wife got off the train at the Castaneda thinking it was Las Vegas, Nevada, and they were married and they lived their entire life in Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Like I said, we get that a lot, right? People passing through, they see Las Vegas, they stop by, and wonder where the casinos are. What happens in our Las Vegas, we want everybody to know. We don't have the.
And the translation is the meadows, correct?
Yeah.
Excellent. So we'll be watching for our Globitos later today, and reminding folks to, while you're in New Mexico, stop by the city of Las Vegas, New Mexico, and. You'll greet him at the border, right? At the turnoff into Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You will.
We'll be there. A lot of film history there. No Country for Old Men, Longmire, Red Dawn.
My cousin was actually in one of the scenes in the original Red Dawn.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think it was the 40th anniversary this year. So a lot of we were Hollywood. Hollywood away from Hollywood.
There you go, one of the early ones.
Right?
Yeah, when they started moving out of there.
The late 1800s, so we have a lot of history.
Good deal. Well, thank you, sir, for your sponsorship. Say hi to everyone in Las Vegas.
I'll let them know, and thank you guys for all you do, and here's some pins.
Appreciate that. And we'll be watching for the Globitos later this morning. And we'll get them up at the end of the, you said it right there. We'll get them up towards the end of our Mass Ascension this morning.
That was...
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a great day. All right. Well, a little bit of family history there.
There you go.
Right here.
There you go. And looks like we have our Baker's Dozen standing up.
Yes, we do. Right there in the middle of the screen is Anthony Tony Polito, who used to reside in Atlanta, but now he's in Scottsdale, and he is flying the Central New Mexico Down Syndrome balloon.
And the Just Fun Cat is that little white one with the little black lines on it.
I think it's J.J. Mancini there that just glowed.
That one, yep. Right there. Yeah, and his Mr. Sprinkles balloon.
Yes. All right, I think Diane has a Diane has a very important person, part of Balloon Fiesta history down there with her. So Diane, who do you have with you?
Okay, here we go. Very important. A very important person. I have with me Tom McConnell. He's been a board member since 1979, a very good year, and a past president of the board, and he knows it's been here at Fiesta 6 different sites, and my favorite story is telling me that your first flight was free. Tell me that, Tom.
Well, we often say, when people ask us about this ballooning business, how much does that cost? And so, well, the first flight is free. The second one costs just $25,000.
Because you buy a balloon.
Because you fall in love with it and you buy a balloon.
He's here with his lovely granddaughter, Chrissy. Thank you so much. One of 3 granddaughters, and they always sport this wonderful Zia sweater because he used to fly the Zia balloon, but also now his son is flying the balloon. But I was going to ask, the 6 sites we had here at Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque, tell me over 44 years, how have things changed? And this is actually, Tom, a serious question.
I gave my mom these pants thinking it'd be just another simple gift. But oh.
Things have changed because we have learned all the things that work, and we have learned all the things we hope that do not work. And so the Balloon Fiesta has gotten larger, more and more complicated. The traffic patterns have gotten more complicated. But the balloonists are enthusiastic. They come from all over the world. They love this place. They love flying in the fall, and they love the Albuquerque people. And for the most part, the Albuquerque people love these balloonists.
And the change has been from a dusty kind of field that we're flying out of, to this gorgeous, 350 some acre grass-filled playground for all of us, not just for balloonists and crew, but for all of really the world.
That's right. The dust and the various sites that we've been on, they were just put together out of fields, basically, until we came to this field here, and the one just preceding it, which is now across the street back here. It's now one of the places where they park the RVs, etc. But so the 350 acres, it's actually more than that because of the various tents that people set up, and a lot of people don't even come on the field. They just take their car and park it out there and watch the balloons fly.
So as a board member, you had a lot to contribute to the growth of this fiesta and the changes for the better.
Well, that's a great question. I hope so. I did do one thing that is still going on. I created the Heritage Committee because we were beginning to lose some of the people from the very beginning, and we didn't want to do that. And so now we record and write in the program, for example, things that happened 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. We all remember Sid Cutter. We remember the early people that made this happen, of which there are many, and many of them are no longer with us. So,
can you give us some of the other names to help us remember right now on our live broadcast throughout the world?
Harry Kinney. Harry Kinney was mayor at the beginning of this business. Harry Kinney, it is said, and Sid Cutter used to say this, he actually saved Balloon Fiesta. He created a committee, and that's when we went to a non-profit organization in 1975, and it's been, with kicks and starts, it's been growing ever since. In the year 2000, for example, Sid had another crazy idea. Let's have 1,000 balloons in 2000, and we'll use that as our slogan. And we all thought he was crazy, but Sid was crazy in a really excellent kind of way, and so we did.
1,000, 1,000 balloons.
We had 1,003 balloons registered that year when we turned the year 2000. And it was absolute chaos.
Wait, what? Chaos?
Yes, chaos. And so then the very next year we said, we're not doing that anymore. We got to cut back on. So now we've cut back a little bit and a little bit every year, and now we're down to somewhere between 550 and 600 balloons. So
a bit more manageable?
A bit more manageable. 2 waves we fly when possible. They go static sometimes if the wind is too high. We've had rainstorms, and one year when Charlie Hines, an early name, Charlie Hines was the only person on the field because it was snowing. and he was president that year, and he was giving an interview, and we were all at home watching on TV. And
I think that was about 1988, 89, right around there. I was here. I was here. My mom was here. She said it's snowing.
Yes, and so we now, of course, it's not quite so cold.
Now we had 87 degrees. Thank you on behalf of the ballooning world. Thank you so much for your contributions, Thompson. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And Chrissy, thank you for being here too, for being a great granddaughter. Back to you at the studio.
Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Tom. Always good to see Tom around the Balloon Fiesta. And she's right. He's right. A wealth of information in Tom. He always has articles in the program. Started the Heritage Committee. And yeah, they just do some great work in trying to preserve the history, the 52 years. And unfortunately, a lot of that history has gotten lost over the years before the committee came together. But we're working hard to bring all that back together.
Well, a little side story. Dr. Tom McConnell gave me my first balloon pin.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I chased him down
and now
on
you
my
have
bicycle.
3.
Yeah, I have 3.
Yeah. So, yep, we have our Krispy Kreme balloons up. We are about 20 minutes away from sunrise and our mass ascension, our balloon of the day, and the flight of colors, the national anthem, all of that good stuff gets started at 7. Then we'll be underway with our full mass ascension. Continues to look just fabulous here at Balloon Fiesta Park for a great day of flying. Here you see a great shot of someone putting heat into the balloon, standing their balloon up. Either they're late to Krispy Kreme or they're early on. I'm going to guess, though, that that's the balloon of the day.
I think it probably is. Yeah, it looks to be like it actually is the Dos Equis balloon over there, if I'm not mistaken.
And there it is standing up. Yeah, we can see it out there. I think that's, let me just double check, because they put all these different people flying, and yeah, it is Damian Kirsten.
That is Damian right there.
Yeah. Yeah, now then we see the shot of him. So.
Hey, we have our watch party again. They're all engaged up there in Michigan. Chad Segal and the folks at River Tree Church are watching again, so have another breakfast burrito for us up there in Michigan.
Yeah, they sent me some great pictures yesterday afternoon of all of them watching, and the kids were coloring balloon pictures while they were watching. Great, they actually have New Mexico Pinion coffee there, and they showed me some 505 Hatch chili that they have out there. So they have definitely brought New Mexico to Michigan, and we appreciate them watching.
Well, maybe we should put a challenge out there. Maybe they're the trendsetters. Maybe we can get watch party, Balloon Fiesta Live watch parties throughout the country. So if you guys are doing that out there, please let us know. And we'd love pictures and tag us on either Facebook and or YouTube.
Absolutely, yeah. Do let us know. Love to encourage the watch parties. The only problem with the watch party is you get one view for the 30 or 40 people that you have there, but that's okay. We'd rather have you watch than get all those views. Which, by the way, we had like 13,000 people watch yesterday morning's show just on YouTube.
That's
we
incredible.
had nearly 75 people or so listening on our audio feed. Last night I checked, our audio feed has been checked into by 12 different countries. And we were pushing 200,000 impressions on Facebook yesterday morning. So Balloon Fiesta Live over the years has as many people watching it as show up on the field, which is pretty incredible.
It is incredible.
And then what's even better, at the end of 9 days, the field goes back to a city park, the balloons are gone, and you can't come to Balloon Fiesta Park and see balloons.
But
you can go online and continue to watch Balloon Fiesta Live.
Year-round.
And I hear regularly from folks who say, oh yeah, we put Balloon Fiesta Live on. My kids love watching it, or I love watching it. And I was talking to a pilot after like the first or second year, and he says,
Taxes was chasing updates. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert, doing it all for you, so you can chase this feeling. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax.
The most amazing stain remover I have ever seen in my life. I've seen this thing perform miracles. If you have a stain on your clothes, even if it's old, even if you've washed and dried it 15 times and the stain is so set in, this has removed the stain for me. It ain't even been 30 seconds. Can you tell where the stain even was? Because I can't find it. I'm kind of afraid that I'm bringing witchcraft into my home.
This stubborn stain on the mattress, if you brush it hard, it may damage the mattress. At this time, you can try this experimental method.
Look, look, look. This is a stellar show. Wow, I'll take it.
Here is such a little thing. How many people don't know to prepare to bottles at home?
When you see this oil stain, your first reaction is to use detergent and rub it hard. Sometimes it won't come off. It contains pigments. Apply this oil stain remover. Gently rub on it, and we rub it ballpoint pen marker pen. It can effectively decompose the pigment in the clothes. Oil stains like this can be removed.
Those that are very useful, but no money for promotion. I'm afraid of stains on uniforms, and oil stains on clothes are afraid of me. I'm even more afraid of stains on sweaty and wet clothes. I am an amino acid stain remover. The active ingredients can easily remove all kinds of stubborn stains. Goodbye, Dark Knight. You can use me to wash clothes for adults and kids. Just throw them in the washing machine. It's very convenient. I'm out, but I still have some...
I just have it on while I'm working. So, yeah. I mean, when you think about it, there's about 40 hours of Balloon Fiesta Live for every year. So that means you could go 2 months of watching it while you're working. There's your 40-hour work week, 2 months worth. Hey, then you can start over again.
I don't know how many supervisors out there would encourage you to be watching Balloon Fiesta Live when you're working, but, you know.
You know, depending on what your job is.
That is true.
You could be, yeah. There's a great shot of Dos Equis. This is another, our cameras do such a great job. It is not that light out here yet.
No.
No.
In fact, from our view, it's still dark on that side, but those cameras are incredible.
Yeah. That shot right from our Main Street stage camera, looking right down on the Dos Equis balloon. Favorite balloon and kind of brainchild of Scott Appleman, who we mentioned yesterday, had started Rainbow Riders out of his garage a number of years ago, grew it into the largest hot air balloon ride company in the world, I think, at least if not in the U.S.
There's an awesome shot.
Yeah, and as in addition to growing the Rainbow Riders company, he also was on the board of directors not only for Balloon Fiesta, but also for the Balloon Federation of America. Very involved in the sport of ballooning, the relations with different organizations and companies, with the Federal Aviation Administration. Just a pillar in the sport of ballooning. Unfortunately, passed away unexpectedly in August, leaving kind of a big hole in the ballooning community. And on this Sunday, kind of day of remembrance here at Balloon Fiesta, many of our pilots will be adding Scott's name to their banner that they'll be flying off their balloons as well. One of the smart things about Scott, though, is that as his company continued to grow and get bigger, he built a management and a leadership team within his company. So there were people who were in charge of the balloon rallies that he put on. There were people in charge of the sponsorship rides that they did, of the ride business. So he has this great leadership team. So the entire organization will definitely live on and move forward with Scott's vision of how all that should be coming together.
Absolutely, he will definitely be missed, but he left a footprint and a legacy in the hot air ballooning community that will continue to live on. So, you know, we think about him, but we also think about what he put together for us and what we can look forward to in the future.
And we thank him for it.
Absolutely.
So this is our Krispy Kreme glow. Again, our Baker's Dozen. Kind of a morning glow, kind of fills the little gap between the Dawn Patrol flight and our mass ascension. So we've mentioned Just Fun Cat there, and JJ Sprinkles in the middle with JJ Mancini with Mr. Sprinkles, and then that was Rod Baca with the Farmer's Balloon. There's Eric Greenwood with his Enchanted,
and that's JD Dyer from Great Britain.
And as we kind of just look down the line, we see a lot of our other friends out there doing the Krispy Kreme glow. I liked when Eric rebuilt that balloon, he actually started putting pinpoints on the silhouette of
Yeah,
New
because the
Mexico.
first one, I believe, he had Las Cruces. Is where he was originally
I don't
from,
even think
and
there was any on the map on the first one, but now
No,
this one's got him in different places.
Right.
So, moving over to the right, we talked with Keith to catch yesterday. Diane did down on the field. That's the kind of stair-step multicolor one. And then off to the far right, Sean Spiker, who's carrying the Krispy Kreme banner for us. The Zia there with the skull in the center.
Name of the balloon is Gut Wrenched. And here we have a married couple, believe it or not.
Yep.
You know, you have Lori Van Sant and Kurt Van Sant in Enchanted Diamonds, and I can't remember the name of her balloon.
Black Magic Woman.
Black Magic Woman, yes.
Yeah. And then Jody Browning is the one glowing right there, the mostly yellow one on top.
And one of the new additions to Krispy Kreme is Mark Meyer. Mark Meyer, he's a pretty impressive aeronaut. He is a FAA licensed transport pilot, and he's been flying. He graduated from the Army Flight School in 1989 as a warrant officer helicopter pilot, and he has a commercial license. I believe he has over 9,000 hours in an aircraft and something like 1,000 in a balloon.
You know, it's amazing to me. I run a little service for balloon pilots where they can, it's kind of a clearinghouse for their documents. So I get to see their certificates come through because I then share them out to balloon rallies, etc. It is amazing to me how many hot air balloon pilots are also ATPs or airline transport pilots. It's really amazing that one day you're flying a 747 and the next day you're out here flying a lighter than air aircraft.
And it's funny because some of those ATP pilots, you get them in the balloon the first time and the look on their face is incredible.
Yes.
Because where do we steer this thing?
I flew a fighter pilot one time and all he could say was, "Where's the stick? Where's the stick?"
We got a rope.
Yeah, I got this rope and I got this burner. I go up, I go down, and yeah.
We'll get you there.
I depend on the winds to get me somewhere. So I have another friend that's a helicopter pilot, and I'll send him tracks of my flights, and I'll show him, "Oh, no, yeah, I got over here and I landed on the road." Of course, he does not understand that. He certainly knows how to fly his helicopter and navigate and get there, but he just haven't been able to quite explain to him yet. Of course, he's in California and I'm here, how we can maneuver balloons.
Speak any language at the touch of a button. Yes, now it's possible. Meet Inets, the cutting-edge two-way instant.
And while we can't just say, "I'm gonna go there," there has to be planning involved with the weather and the winds, etc. There was a close-up shot of Sean, and you mentioned, he certainly knows how to fly his helicopter and navigate and get there, but he just haven't been able to quite explain to him yet. Of course, he's in California and I'm here, how we can maneuver balloons. And while we can't just say, "I'm gonna go there," there has to be planning involved.
Woman, yes.
Yeah. And then Jody Browning is the one glowing right there, the mostly yellow one on top.
And one of the new additions to Krispy Kreme is Mark Meyer. Mark Meyer, he's a pretty impressive aeronaut. He is a FAA licensed transport pilot, and he's been flying. He graduated from the Army Flight School in 1989 as a warrant officer helicopter pilot, and he has a commercial license. I believe he has over 9,000 hours in an aircraft and something like 1,000 in a balloon.
You know, it's amazing to me. I run a little service for balloon pilots where they can, it's kind of a clearinghouse for their documents. So I get to see their certificates come through because I then share them out to balloon rallies, etc. It is amazing to me how many hot air balloon pilots are also ATPs or airline transport pilots. It's really amazing that one day you're flying a 747 and the next day you're out here flying a lighter than air aircraft.
And it's funny because some of those ATP pilots, you get them in the balloon the first time and the look on their face is incredible.
Yes.
Because where do we steer this thing?
I flew a fighter pilot one time and all he could say was, "Where's the stick? Where's the stick?"
We got a rope.
Yeah, I got this rope and I got this burner. I go up, I go down, and yeah.
We'll get you there.
I depend on the winds to get me somewhere. So I have another friend that's a helicopter pilot, and I'll send him tracks of my flights, and I'll show him, "Oh, no, yeah, I got over here and I landed on the road." And of course, he does not understand that. He certainly knows how to fly his helicopter and navigate and get there, but he just haven't been able to quite explain to him yet. Of course, he's in California and I'm here, how we can maneuver balloons. And while we can't just say, "I'm gonna go there," there has to be planning involved with the weather and the winds, etc. There was a close-up shot of Sean. Yeah. And you mentioned Tony Polito with the Rio Grande Down syndrome balloon before. And Luke Sesnick has the POW MIA balloon.
You were talking about planning when you're flying. You know, when I was taught to fly, you always want to be thinking ahead. You know, it's not flying a balloon is not like driving a car. You really have to have contingencies and be thinking what's going to happen, you know, 10, 20, 30 seconds ahead of me. And then obviously watching the balloons around you is very helpful. It's more difficult to fly alone when you're out there on the West Mesa because you're just seeing the wind doing what it's localized there. But, you know, when you can see your best friend flying around, it really helps out. I remember one year I was flying over in between Edith and 4th Street and the river, and it's a very congested area. And I watched a pilot, he's not here this year, but Stuart Inlow, maneuver down into the little small park on 2nd Street. And because of what he did, I was able to replicate that and stick us right down into that park. And one of my passengers, who was really not keen of heights, I told her, don't worry, we're going to go on this flight. We're not going to go real high. And oh, poor Beth Trenner was just trembling up there in the sky. But we got her down, her and her mom, and we had one of the best flights ever. My son actually texted me last night from back home, and he said, hey, Dad, you should tell him what was one of your most incredible flights out of Fiesta Field. And I'll be honest with you, when you fly with all these balloons, they're all incredible.
Yes. And you're right. It's kind of nice to say, yeah, okay, I think I can get, if they can get there, now I know how to get there. It's always great fun. Well, and we've talked already this week about how much of a community and a family all of ballooning is. And so it's always good to get together afterwards, too. While we were up in the sky, and then you do some hanger flying while you're out there tailgating. Yeah, well, did you see this? Did you see that? How did this happen? Or how did you get there? I couldn't find the direction to get there.
Well, it's kind of
funny. A lot of times because, you know, rope things all jacked very well up like it always is. The wind could be there 1 second, then gone the next. And it's not around anymore, so you have to be very reactive as to what you're doing, and that's the thinking forethought and thinking ahead of time. You know, the other thing is a pilot, when you take off, and they train you this, once you get into the air, you want to find 3 landing spots immediately that you're in the air.
Part of that planning.
Yes, that pre-planning and decision making. So you want to be able to find 3 safe landing spots. So that's something these pilots will do, especially when you're flying with, again,
we're going to be taking off from North Carolina Tar Heel football stadium.
We were talking about the winds changing, things like that. We were talking after the Candlestick Blow last night with Brad Thiemeyer, our chief meteorologist here at Balloon Fiesta, talking with him, and the phrase he likes to use is, the conditions change just so darn fast here in Albuquerque.
That's right.
And they absolutely can.
Original morning flight.
Hey there, guys. I just watched this. Funny, but hopeful, but
Then there's other days when it just kind of sets up, and that's the way it is. And that's what you learn to fly.
There's Tony Polito again in the Rio Grande Down syndrome balloon. You know, he had a story he told me about flying with Sid Cutter, who signed him off on his private ticket back in the day. And I guess he flew so well that after they landed, Sid encouraged him to get his commercial license, and he had so many hours, and Sid signed him off on that. Before long, he was flying for Sid in World Balloon and flying rides, and had quite the history with the Cutter family here. But a lot of people have, and as Dr. Tom said, you know, Sid was instrumental. Harry Kenny, the mayor. These are all people that why we're here today, and again, this day of remembrance, the first Sunday of Balloon Fiesta every year. We take time to think about those people who really put us where we're at today.
Look how stable our balloons are.
Yeah, amazing, right? Yeah. Different from yesterday.
There's just, a lot of rocking and rolling going on yesterday as we had these little different wind gusts and things like that. And then it kept getting later. We started getting into thermals happening here, which is the updrafts of the winds. Seeing a little bit of balloons trying to get a jump on getting cold inflated. A lot of others have stretched the balloon out, or they're just kind of waiting. Again, you don't want to put the heat in too soon because you don't want to waste the fuel sitting on the ground. On a day like today, you're going to want that to have all the fuel you can when you get up in the sky, just because you could be doing a nice long flight. There's looking down the ride balloon row.
Lots of passengers today.
Yeah, in those very big balloons. And so I love this shot. I love when their balloons, the envelopes are all stretched out. Very little, if no air in them at all. You see the one, New Mexico one at the far end's got a little bit of air in it. But they'll all get started here shortly.
seeing a little bit of drainage there, but yeah, it's going to turn out to be a fabulous day.
And there's here's part of the process. So pilot is making sure that all the fuel stuff, all the equipment is there. You see it's already tied off. There's a strap coming down the frame at the top that kind of goes down and off to the front of the truck. It's required that all balloonists have a
very safe fit. Don't want anything to go awry. And you know, back in the day though, I remember as a kid watching people who didn't tie off chase their balloons down the runway. Look at all those people.
Hey, a few of my friends are here.
Few.
Just a few. Where are the rest of you? You're all watching on Balloon Fiesta Live. And we are glad that you are watching on Balloon Fiesta Live. We're happy to bring this to you. And we hope that you will make a trip to Albuquerque and Balloon Fiesta at some point in the future, whether it's later this week or next year or the year after. You can put it on your calendar right now. We are always the very first Saturday. We start the first Saturday in October every single year. And we go 9 days. So just start marking it on your calendar.
Morning, noon, and night.
By the way, you know the 2025 Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta calendar is already out and for sale. So you can pick up that 2025 calendar at balloonfiestastuff.com. balloonfiestastuff.com. You can get your calendar. You can get a program from this year if you don't happen to be here. And if you were to throw a few other things in your cart, like maybe some clothing, t-shirts, or our cool jackets, or we've got a plethora of hats this year as well. So you can go shopping. Again, it's at balloonfiestastuff.com. And we've got a special deal for our Balloon Fiesta Live viewers. If you scan that QR code
weather
that's on the
settings
screen right
to
now,
calm
that will
until I
take you to
fucking get up in the air because this mooring rope
and
sucks
if you throw
on this
some
game
clothing
so
or
bad.
sportswear into your cart,
Microsoft
when you hit
do
the
better,
checkout
bro.
page, enter the discount code Fiesta24, and we'll take 10% off your clothing purchase.
Fucking better.
It's a one-time only use, and it's only good through the 15th of October. So go online, scan the QR code, go shopping at balloonfiestastuff.com. Use that code Fiesta24 to save 10% on all of your clothing. Oh, and by the way, while you're there, sign up for What's Up Wednesday. You can do that at the very bottom. That's a weekly email that'll keep you up to date on all of the happenings with our merchandise. You'll be the first to know when the new pins come out, when the calendar gets released, program gets released, what new clothing we have coming in and out, some other behind-the-scenes information as well. So great stuff for you on balloonfiestastuff.com.
So you mean I get 10% off? All I got to do is scan that QR code.
Scan the code, takes you to the store, and then put the code in when you get to the checkout cart.
Got it.
It's kind of like, you put the stuff in, all the regular prices are going to show up. And it's going to say you got this, but then you put the code in, it's going to take 10% off all the sportswear stuff.
Awesome.
Oh my God, these fucking
Hi,
ads.
I'm Varun, co-founder and CEO of
I don't
ALBUQUERQUE.
give a shit, bitch.
That's how that works.
Well, I'm monitoring you on Facebook. You better watch your hat because someone says that they love the hat and they want to know how they can get it off your head.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk. We'll talk.
Okay.
The last time somebody wanted clothing I was wearing, it was on a PBS channel here, and I was wearing kind of a Hawaiian shirt. And somebody said they'd give me $20 for the shirt, and I said, make it 40 and you've got it. And the next day, my mother calls me from Arizona. Remember, this is in Albuquerque. She says, what are you doing selling your clothes on the air? It turned out her neighbors were in Albuquerque on their way home, turned on the TV, happened to see me. When they got home the next day, they said, we saw your son on the air and he's selling his clothes.
So we're not able to take pictures now all of a sudden, huh? Fucking dumbass computer.
So
technology gets on my nerves.
Well, it looks like we have the first wave of the mass ascension. First wave of wave one getting ready here, and we're going to get ready to get to our national anthem here in a second. This is a great sight. Awesome part of the morning.
We're 2 minutes away, so at this point, I think it's time to actually go ahead and toss it down that way.
Yes, so why don't we go down to our PA announcer, Mr. Bill Royal, with our national anthem.
started. We have a lot of amazing We also have the Fiesta Wheels car show at the north side of the lot at 11 a.m. At the south side of the lot, we're going to have pin trading for people who are pin collectors. And now as the Dos Equis balloon prepares
I'm
to
just
raise
taking
the
off
colors.
because I got nothing to hold
Please
the balloon
welcome.
down. But as soon as I take off, I'm turning it into live weather.
In just a few seconds from now.
No, we can take off whenever. It's just, I mean, ain't nobody here, bro. It's just me and you now.
Alrighty. Thanks to the Krispy Kreme morning glow that started the morning after dawn patrol. Right now, we are prepared to go in the air as the Dos Equis balloon prepares to rise into the sky. Please welcome to sing our national anthem. From your United States Air Force Academy Band, Technical Sergeant Matt Booker.
Let's go.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's what we beheld at the twilight what stripes and bright stars through the what a rampart gallantly stream. There's the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And we are officially underway for day 2, morning number 1 of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. It's number 52, powered by ExxonMobil. Art Lloyd Jr. and Ted Mays here on Balloon Fiesta Live as Damian Kirsten takes the Dos Equis balloon and the colors airborne to get us started.
You saw that shot of Damian taking off, nice and smooth, and again on Remembrance Day, you saw those white banners tied to the uprights of that balloon. So,
What a great shot.
so the next order of business is the launch directors, or the Zebras, will be moving along the Krispy Kreme row and launching the Krispy Kreme folks next, as the balloons in front of us here start in the first wave in front of us.
Yeah, I think our most active
And the ride balloons that we saw all
events
laid
are gonna
out
be on
earlier,
in the
having their
afternoons.
fans on, they'll be inflating. We'll actually kind of do this in 2 sections, starting with this group that we're seeing here, the ExxonMobil balloon, Beautiful World. That's code red, the one with the red, white, and black and yellow. The Intel balloon is in the mix, as is Remax.
You have Buzzard's Roost sitting up, Earl Buzzard right there between Intel.
All of these along this row, they're going to be up right after Krispy Kreme, and we'll be starting in the middle. I see lots of air going into the Rainbow Riders balloons at midfield. It's kind of like a double mass ascent. We work through the field, and we will be back on our normal 2-wave schedule. So we'll get about half the balloons off the first time, and then we'll go through and get the second half off.
No curveball from the south to the north, other than the north to the south.
A more typical generic pattern. You know, yesterday I started talking about the fact that the first one was in April in 1972. Then we moved to February for 1973 in the first World Championships. And then in 74, that was also in February, but it snowed on them those 2 years.
I remember that.
So they said, you know, maybe we ought to look for a different time of the year to do this. So in 75, they said, let's move to October.
And action.
To date, we've helped over 30.
Fuck these ads. Since when, bitch? So annoying.
Smaller.
Yes.
So for it to look bigger and be farther away,
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme starting to launch off the side. Start to launch off the middle of the field, the south end of the field, and we don't have our maps. But yeah, here's the second row starting to get going. So I think, like I said, just moving just a little bit slower.
Well,
this
after
morning.
9 days, you know, you do slow down a little bit.
You do.
And you want to be safe out there. Good. Flying into the comfort level of, you know, flying for 9 days is pretty grueling. We were talking earlier, most rallies are Saturday, Sunday, sometimes at best a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, or a Monday if it's a holiday. But you're right, 2 days, and maybe you do one event on a third day.
Back there,
we were 14 events in 9 days. And yep, there goes Krispy Kreme, the one with the banner.
Thank you, Sean, for finally turning it.
The banner, yeah.
All right, let's take it back down to, let's take it down under to the left side of the field and talk to Diane.
Hi, guys. We have a first-time visitor from Beijing, China here
there's
at
a
Balloon
lot of
Fiesta Park.
updrafts and downdrafts, so be
Chen
careful.
and his wife.
Pen and my crew from
Australia.
Kerry from Australia.
First time at Fiesta. Your first time. Your first time at Fiesta. Your first time at Fiesta.
Yeah, I first time.
What do you think of this?
Nice, very nice.
In Chinese, in Mandarin, tell people to come here in Mandarin. Speak in Mandarin.
Hello， 大家好，我们是来自中国的，热情的飞行员，以及我们从澳大利亚来的我们的地勤，感谢大家。阿尔伯克基这个地方，非常。
No, sorry, nobody really can translate that. Maybe Google Translate, but I'm sure you say that Balloon Fiesta Live is fantastic.
Hey, Chips, are
and
you
so
catching
is
these
the
crazy
Albuquerque
ass updrafts and
International Balloon
downdrafts?
Fiesta. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Diane. Always good to have folks because around the world, because this is the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Saw JJ Mancini go out in Mr. Sprinkles. There's another shot of Tony Polito with his Rio Grande Down syndrome balloon. We talked with Tony earlier and saw him do that fabulous inflation. Again, our ride balloons and our Krispy Kreme balloons are off to the one side. I see far west side, Keith the Catch we talked about. Rainbow Riders going down the east side. Right off the south end here, Xfinity getting airborne as well. There's a shot of, actually we can kind of see all the way down the field to those.
There's a lot of
Rainbow
trees
Rider
out
balloons.
here. Oh look, they got the
There's a
Tar
great
Heel
way to
foot thing in the
start to
front.
see
That's
some
cool.
of the difference.
I didn't
Red
know
Rice
that.
with the
It's like a
Rainbow
pool.
Rider balloon with the Zia.
Zia, yep.
But then there's
Clever.
the Rainbow Rider that's just a little bit
There's a lot
higher.
of trees
and there was
out here.
nothing high. The Colorado balloon is also giving us rides this morning. Pinnacle Propane been providing our propane all week for our flights. Great partner in the propane business. They have the balloon operated by Rainbow Riders for them.
Kettywample right there in the middle with the handicap accessible basket.
Yeah, just kind of peeking through there. Yeah. I point to the screen like everybody at home can see it.
Yeah, well.
Coca-Cola going directly overhead. Can't point our pictures up from there, but we've had great conversations with Steve Mitchell flying the Coca-Cola balloon for us. Well, there you go. Look,
there's Brad Rice.
The Z of New Mexico and the Arizona flag, because Rainbow Riders has operations in Arizona as well. In fact, they're in the Four Corners area. So New Mexico, Colorado, and which one did I miss?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah, we should photobomb Brad because he did that to us last night.
He did. He did.
So I think we're going to turn around real quick here. Yeah. Let me not. Let's see.
Yeah. There he is.
Now flying in the cloud.
So they just had us doing the photobomb picture. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Fiesta Gold just taking off in the right-hand side of our screen. Mark Sullivan flying Fiesta Gold for us this weekend. Earlier last weekend, it was Judy Nakamura who was flying it. So members of the board of directors tend to fly this weekend.
She flew the governor last weekend, right?
She did.
Yep.
A week and a day ago, 9 days ago. And then the governor posted on Facebook what a great flight she had, and some great pictures from that. Fidelity Investments, another one of those corporate balloons flown by Rainbow Riders doing dual duty, taking folks up for a ride and advertising for a business. There's Tony. We've been talking about him on the ground.
Yep. He's going to come right over the rooftop studio.
In the center of the shop.
Yes. Of course he is. You know, I did notice a couple of Krispy Kremers did pull out, but that's okay. Every flight here at Fiesta is a pilot's discretion. And after 9 grueling days, they wanted to put a show on for the folks this morning, but they also wanted to take care of their crew and maybe wrap up the time that they're here and spend some more time on the field before we have to get back to reality tomorrow.
Making that last-minute shop because somebody said, oh, by the way, bring me a calendar, too.
Right.
And maybe they don't have a 3 or 4 day drive. Maybe they only have a 1 day drive. So
and it could be local people, you know.
Could be. All kinds of reasons. You wake up, you wake up, and you're not sick. You just don't feel on the top of your game.
And that's the best thing to do. The best aeronautical decision making someone could make is better be safe than sorry. And
we like to say, better being down here wishing you were up there
than up there wishing you were down here. Absolutely.
Yep.
I think they also said this thing is how's it go? There's bold pilots and old pilots, but no
bold pilots.
And here we're starting to see a little bit of the composite of the box here. It's actually, we have a Rainbow Rider up to the right over here of us. Sandia is starting to get a little bit of that northeast that Brad talked about. We're kind of going northwest now.
Yeah.
But he's going northeast.
And he's lower,
yep.
Up higher, still to the northwest. So, yeah, there's going to be some steerage up there, basically in the form of a box. You don't have to get up but a few hundred feet to turn this southerly direction around and head back the other way.
You know, and there are some days that you think, that you were saying, you know, you're just not feeling it, and then you see your best friends go, and they have the flight of their life, and you kind of regret it, but you know what? The best decision-making is your decision-making.
One of the things I heard in one of our ground schools from one of our instructors here, he was talking about students having to make the decision to fly or not, and he says, I, as an instructor, will never question your no-fly decision. He says, but I may and will override your go decision if I disagree.
Exactly.
The other thing was that it's okay to reverse your let's fly decision and turn it to a no-fly, but once you've made the decision not to fly, do not reverse that. Stick with the no. And we've all known some pilots who, I wasn't going to fly, last minute fly, change their mind, they get up, and it's not necessarily the best flight. And they should have stuck with that no-fly decision. Always the pilot in decision, just like the captain on a 737.
Or the floater with highs for
they
the
are
real
the
life.
pilot
I'm good.
command of
I'll
that
fly
aircraft,
this shit.
responsible for all that. flight. Same
Need to
thing with
fix
our
my,
balloon pilots,
roping
because
crew.
we are certified pilots flying an FAA or other regulatory aircraft. They will fly to us. We've talked a little bit about the New Mexico State University Aggie balloon.
But here's the cherry on top, New Mexico
landing
Lobo
spots
That's
are
the
gonna
other
be
big university here in New Mexico.
the Rio Grande rivalry is what they call it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go down to Diane Kinderwater. She's got a pilot getting ready to take off. Diane.
Let's see. So anything
Mark
up
from
here,
Albuquerque. And your name? We got Mark
anything in
Yocum
these areas
from
is gonna
Albuquerque
go.
and Meredith. Thank you,
Yeah,
his
we got
crew
a
chief.
city up
And
here.
you've got Air Rocky Top. How did you name that?
That came from the previous owner. He named it.
I mean, once we get past the little city and
It's
shit.
from a company
But
called
that's
Rocky Top Press, and it was named in
that's a
the
good minute.
in the vision of the song Rocky Top out of Tennessee.
Gotta go on this way.
How's your crew? You have a lot of weight to put on here this morning.
Yep. Yep, but we got it. It's just windy, so it makes it a
It
little
gets
tougher.
worse
But
there for a
we got a
while.
good crew,
You
so.
have to be careful.
Where's your crew from?
Here in Albuquerque.
They are putting their weight down, and we've got some passengers.
I'm Tracy.
Jacob Smith.
Bunch of school buses down there.
Being a fiesta.
And I love coming back every year. It's the best time ever.
Mark, you're busy. What's going on up there? What's going on? What's going on up there?
I'm just prepping the balloon for flight. Checking my top to make sure that it's secure and working properly, and the rapid deflation system's working properly. And we're fighting the wind, making sure it's nice and packed, so that we limit the buffeting in the wind.
He's busy like all these pilots. Good luck to you. Have a safe flight, final flight during this fiesta.
Mark Yocum in here, Rocky Top, great friend of and we love going out and flying around him here, watching him take off just over the shoulder of Henry Rosenbaum, another great friend. Yeah, who has joined us here on the rooftop studio. Good morning, Henry.
Good morning, Art. Good morning, Ted. And again, good morning to your whole staff. What a fantastic day we're having.
What a great day you were saying, I think.
It is. It's a fantastic day. We refer to it as our farewell mass ascension. It is our last day. We've been thinking back in time. It's been wonderful.
So what was the mood at pilot briefing here on this last morning of 2024?
I'm tired, but excited. But I told them, I said, they're all rock stars. They've been rock stars all week. It's like every rock star, when you step off the stage, the crowd's still out there cheering, and they wanted an encore. And that's what today is. We came back out to on stage to do an encore. It's going to be a fantastic encore. With this box, having the balloons going back out to the northwest, it's just beautiful.
So what's next for you after the end of today? Obviously packing up. What's next on your agenda? Because you told us you retired last Friday.
I did. I retired on October the 1st, and I arrived here on October the 1st. So I'll get home, relax, enjoy time with family now. What's next for today? And that's the message I want to come and share with you, that our staff is telling me, and all the pilots and their crew is, we're looking forward to get home to our loved ones. Specifically, my wife, boy. I've got a little grandbaby at home. Baby
nice.
B. So looking forward to getting home and spending time, just like all of our staff, all the pilots and crews. We want to get home. We want to spend time with our family and our loved ones. And then some of us have balloon events next weekend that we're going to go to. This is what we love, we enjoy, and our families that can't travel with us at certain events, they're down the fort. And we miss you, we love you, and we're only a couple hours away, or maybe a couple days away, but we'll be home.
So we batted 1,000 this year.
We did.
And throughout the year, you and I have a little text thread going having to do with baseball. So I think I'm going to continue for next year so we can bat 1,000 again.
Yes, you're exactly right. And I learned something. One of the staff members that came on board this year used to work for the Patriots. And he was on the Patriots when the Patriots won a couple of the Super Bowls. And even as a staff member, everybody on the team got Super Bowl rings. So there's no doubt Fiesta won the Super Bowl this year. Getting Super Bowl rings for next year, so we can proudly display those. So we'll see if that's in our pilot packs next year. But But back to today, it's going to be a fantastic show. We'll probably only do one wave, and then we'll open the field for landings. There might be a couple of balloons that are able to work that box, but for the most part, they're going to be back out to the northwest again today.
Well, we were watching some actually seem to get a little bit of east, and one little narrow layer up there. So we'll see what they decide to do as we finish up on our farewell mass ascension. Henry Rosenbaum, Balloon Meister here at Balloon Fiesta.
Yeah. No, thank you. And I just want to say thank you again for what you do, what you bring to the world. Literally, the world watches us. I've gotten texts throughout the week from people from not only in the States, but from overseas and elsewhere, and they greatly appreciate it. And the fact that you can go back and watch it at another time is tremendous, because the balloonists like to go back and see their own selves from that morning or that nighttime activity. So thank you and your staff. It's been a wonderful fiesta, but you know what? We're going to be back here again next year on October the 4th, and we'll start it all over, do another 9 days.
You know, we're hearing actually, since you brought that up, Pat Irwin in the Nevada balloon flew our balloon camera yesterday. In fact, he's going to fly it again today. And we had the most fantastic in-flight video yesterday. And then he said he went back with his crew and watched the recording later, and he was blown away about what was happening. Yeah, people are watching it, and just so everyone knows, before we started this morning, we already had 37 hours of live Balloon Fiesta coverage just this year.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So talk about stats. One of the stats, our Zebras, the launch directors, they keep track, a lot of them, of the steps that they do. So I asked them this morning, I said, up to today, how many steps have y'all collected? And they came back and they gave me a total of 5.5 million steps that these Zebras, launch directors, have done. So I did some math for them. If there's 2,000 steps in a mile, an average mile, that's 2,700 miles that those Zebras have walked in these. That's up 8 days, not counting what they'll do today. So
and some of that's running too, because we've seen them run to be able to get there in time.
Walking and running, but anyway, and everybody has put some miles on their shoes.
They have.
It's been a great week. We're tired, but we've enjoyed it. The fans, folks that come out to watch us, we're interacting with them. And there's no doubt we've put smiles on the young kids' faces to the most senior person that's been on the property. We've put smiles on all those faces. And that's the other thing about our activity that we do. There's many sporting events that you go to, but when those people leave that sporting event, half of them have a frown on their face.
They do.
But in this activities, everybody has a smile on their face when they leave Balloon Fiesta.
They're all winners.
It's nice. We're all winners, and it's nice to be part of that. So
Ted's been using the hitting a home run analogy as a balloon pilot takes off with the cheer and the excitement from the crowd as that happens.
And we've hit a home run every day, and Fiesta has won the Super Bowl.
500 plus balloons every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Home run derby for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Henry Rosenbaum, Balloon Meister, once again this year. Thank you very much for joining us all these mornings, for all the work you do, and the excellent team that you have working with you. Always great to see you. Safe travels home, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. And to the ones at home, we'll be home shortly. We love you. Thank you.
Thanks, Henry.
Thanks, Henry. So as Henry said, we have a mass ascension underway this morning. Mostly just kind of one wave. We'll see a few less than 500 balloons in the sky this morning. But they're continuing to end the week like they started it, flying off to the south, going up high, and out to the north and northwest.
Morning flights, we won't have glowing lights tonight, but we did every single night of the glow, so we have delivered.
We have, and especially the last 3 nights, the glows have been incredible. If you did not get a chance to see it, witness it in person, do go back and check out the archives of Balloon Fiesta live on balloonfiesta.com. And then you can still comment about it at balloons@balloonfiesta.com. Would love to read your emails, see your pictures, if you'll send them to us at balloons@balloonfiesta.com. Part of the crew activities is to put someone out on the crown line. That's the rope that goes from the top center of the balloon down to the ground, used for stabilization on inflation and to help control the balloon on deflation. And Diane has managed to find her way to the end of that crown line. So Diane?
Here we go. I'm with Diego and with the balloon, the fallen officers, in memory of the fallen officer. Never forget, and he keeps saying, here we go. Why do he keep saying, here we go? He's on the crown.
All right, let's put it in. And hopefully get a good flight in. I'm just struggling to keep it, keep it under wraps, keep it under control.
Come back here.
And here we go.
Oh, you keep saying, here we go.
This is it. We're putting it into the balloon and just trying to keep it from toppling over best I can. And as you can see, it's actually a pretty good setup.
Never forget for the fallen officer. Tell me a little bit about the balloon as you're struggling to keep it.
the pilot's an officer. He's flying. Sorry. That's about the best I can do right now. Okay. And there it is.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay,
a little bit of excitement. Now I gotta wait to see for him to tell me to bring in the crown line, and hopefully he'll get the zebras to come out here pretty quickly, and we'll have a good flight.
Never forget.
Never forget. And pilot's out of Rio Rancho. I'm out of Albuquerque. And that's it.
Who are we not forgetting?
Well, all the fallen officers, all the fallen deputies, in their memory.
Diego, that was fun. You're a big guy. Let's see those muscles. Let's see the gams. Let's see the gams.
I lost it a long time ago.
This is good exercise with the crown line, right?
It is. They find the biggest guy. Here, you go do that.
You go. And I love you saying, here we go. Here we go.
Here we go.
And we went. We went.
Always good to have the big guy out there on the crown line in a day like today.
He's working it today. We got a little bit of that drainage as the sun crested the mountains, and it's not hitting the field because those clouds are up there. We're not seeing the sun glimmer the balloons like we have the last couple days, but we should create a little bit of instability in the wind that comes streaming down the middle of the field.
We see Steve Coffing's plot twist balloon carrying the Isleta Resort banner on it. Steve was one of our competitors that made it in a number of times. He's over there by the Sid Cutter pilot and the Never Forget balloon that we were just talking about over on the west side of the field. As we look at the crowd, look, there's the shot. We just saw balloons going to the left on the screen and a little higher. They were going to the right. Bucket list balloon. Cattywample's just going to get eclipsed by the big rainbow balloon. Cattywample's that red one. We got a chance to see the plexiglass side of that basket because Mike Heffron, who flies that balloon, actually has equipped the basket to be able to put a wheelchair in, and the person in a wheelchair can stay in their wheelchair while they are actually in the basket. And because it's a little bit lower, you wouldn't normally be able to see over the side of the balloon. So they changed part of the side to plexiglass so you can see.
Allowing all types of people to get their bucket list checked off.
And the other thing that we're starting to see a few more of, that is baskets with doors in them.
Yes.
So they could open the door and you can walk in as opposed to having to fling your body over the side. And as to make it more accessible to everyone. Sometimes it's a little tough to top the side of the basket or have some other issues.
I got a whole east one.
Guilty as charged. Guilty the name of the balloon. Yes.
Yes, he is. There's Karen Converse, her pink and black
a whole
balloon,
different
pink
wind
pennants.
Penumbra. I guess it's the right around the sun.
Something like that. Yeah.
With those big pink pennants.
About to drop off my pass.
A little rock and roll then. She's kind of like tick-tocking there.
Yep. Well, sometimes when the wind comes down, again, the center of the field, where there's a little bowl down there, you'll get a little bit of that rocking, and depending on how many people you have holding on, once you get that thing hot, you'll kind of shoot up out of there, and if that last person held on a little too long, kind of like a pendulum going back and forth.
The balloon is moving and the basket's
now
not.
going back
so
to the
you
other
go
one.
basket. Never Forget is airborne off the west side. Mark Copenhagen is the pilot of that. We talked earlier with Dr. Originally brought up the Stork balloon, first known as Great Expectations. Now flies RC balloons, and he has turned over the hot air balloon operations to Son Mark. There's the Never Forget with the ribbon. Mark flies this regular shape, and on special shape days, he puts up the score. Hey, a couple pieces of business here that we need to get to. As you know, we have been giving away 3 Balloon Fiesta Live license plates in every session, all 14 sessions. And so we're going to finish up on session number 14. We had people put their names in, and so putting your name in at this point is not, unfortunately, going to win you a Balloon Fiesta Live license plate because the final 3 winners have been selected. And so I want to congratulate Dan Rohan from Glendale, Arizona, Tammy Fisher from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Amilta Patos from Lawrenceville, Georgia. So those are the latest and last winners of our Balloon Fiesta Live license plate.
Give me that East
so we want to thank everyone who has entered our contest to win these. I will be in touch with all of you in the next week or so, confirming your address and making sure you know that you won, because you didn't have to be watching to win. So we'll be doing that in the next week or so. We'll be sending those out. Thanks to all of you for putting your information and entering our contest. We would love to be able to send each and every one of you a license plate. But our friends at the sign store who have provided this, we made the deal they'd give us this many. So, yeah, we're thank you for that. We'll be in touch about that. And maybe next year you can win a live license plate for 2025.
Yep, or if you have maybe a gift that you would like, throw it out there on the chat or send it to balloons at balloonfiesta.com and we'll see what we can do for you.
Yep, we'll do what we can along those lines.
So Diane is down on the field with another pilot's about ready to take off in the farewell mass ascension. So Diane, who do you have for us now?
It's about time with David Shively from Albuquerque and his crew here. He's very busy. There's not much traffic overhead, the zebra said, the launch director, so she's going to be blowing her whistle any minute now. And of course, he's working hard. A little bit of a wind here. Ryan, you're putting the weight on, Ryan?
Yeah, we're putting the weight on right now, trying to keep the balloon on the ground.
How hard is that?
It's pretty difficult. Keeps on wanting to blow everywhere.
Again, it's a beautiful balloon. We're so grateful that they are flying today. We do have a nice crowd out here, and it's wonderful to see these pilots put the effort in. You know, they fight a little bit of the wind. It's quite a bit of a challenge for them, but he's going to be taking off. They're getting the thumbs up. We're seeing the crowd move away, and we're going to have everybody cheer here as he takes off. Here he goes. There he goes.
So David Stanley, it's about time from Albuquerque, flying for a banner for Trans Perfect Global. And so we are working our way through the first wave, and they said we'd really probably only have a first wave.
And Henry mentioned that, only one.
Although we've already gone through rows A, B, and C, and there's some people starting to set up here. So we're going to kind of just have some, not so much organized inflations and waves and those types of things. We'll see balloon pilots kind of pop up wherever. They continue to watch the weather and the winds, and sometimes we see some cold air going in and they stand up and they fly away. Others put cold air in and pull it out. Others put cold and hot air in and pull it out. So lots of, do I fly, do I not fly, how am I really feeling? Trying to put a little balloon show on for us this morning as well, as we are on day number 9, 10 if you count Albuquerque off. Session number 14, and every single one of those sessions. The first time in a long time that we have batted 1,000 with all of our events. There's Tall Steve all the way down at the other end of the balloon field. And there is
Mazu.
Mazu.
I
have a hard time keeping that name. Mazu, our Chinese dowel. And the intricacy of that balloon, not only in the designs on it, but all the little extra appendages, the little beads that hang down from the head. They're kind of, the wind's kind of blowing them off the top. Stands up, falling down.
Yeah, that's a really interesting balloon with, again, the details unbelievable on that. Now, Art, you see that balloon right there? He, along with David Adler in Teddy Twins, which is right behind him, has a little bit of that northeasterly wind at that level that Brad Tiemeyer and the team talked about if they were to that launch straight out. So you will see a couple of these balloons that maybe waited to take off a little while, come back to the field, and I did hear over the radio the field will be open for landing. I think Henry said that as well. So as we continue to,
there's your Teddy Twins.
There's the Teddy Twins. With myself, that would be Teddy Triplets.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's fields, but
I don't know.
I just I had to come up here to get some speed.
I know I'm in
down
trouble
there, I
with
was
Teddy
going
from
nowhere.
Valerie.
Yeah.
I see a little
There's
lake
Tall
bend. I
Steve.
don't know if I'm gonna make that dude.
The baby penguin.
Not even trying to risk that
Puddles
shit.
and Splash.
Well, they
That
got
little
the
baby,
winds from the
and he
south
came out
right
to
now
me.
at
Big
2,000.
Tall Steve.
24 knots.
Towers over those
Ooh.
other two penguins. And let's see, Jeff Bennett flying the Big Steve balloon.
There's Pat Irwin in the Nevada Born balloon. He'll be flying a camera for us on the field today, getting ready to inflate. He's right
over
on the
there,
east side of the field.
Got to remember that he's in H1.
Right in front of Smokey Bear.
Next to that green one. So we're just kind of looking up inside. So the idea here is to turn on the inflator fan. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, now Teddy Twins decided to go, came down about 100 feet, and now he's going southeast.
That's the other one we were looking at out there.
Huh.
That's a pretty good turn within a few
Couple
feet.
hundred feet, yeah.
Maybe 100 foot or so.
And for some of these bigger balloons, you're like right in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And we look right above Tall Steve's actually going right over the rooftop studio, and we have a balloon right on top of Tall Steve.
Going right back the other
Going
way.
the other direction, straight northwest.
Well, I'm even looking out here over the roof. Can't see that shot that we can from here. And actually, the Visit Albuquerque balloon was going to the north. It's kind of like stopped, while Teddy Bear is going right under, the Twin Teddies is going right underneath it. You'll get a bit. Ready, set, snap.
Yep, there we go.
Lined up
And now I'm
perfectly.
getting a picture of me taking a picture of them. By the way, I just did some math a second ago. Since we last talked last night during the glow, 800 pictures on my camera roll.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to have to buy some more terabytes here before long.
We just saw Meow Wolf. And here is our
Mazu.
Mazu with an M.
Yep.
Mazu. And that looks.
Look at the crowd around that balloon.
Yeah. Well,
and
why
look at the
not?
crowd of the
Why
Balloon
not?
Museum. Look at the people on the deck of the Balloon Museum to the right there. They're enjoying today's final farewell mass ascension of the second Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil.
We should give them a shout out over there at the Balloon Museum. Live on the TVs over there.
Well, good morning to everyone at the Abruzzo International Balloon Museum.
Yeah, it's actually
Yes.
a really mouthful.
Yes.
Albuquerque,
Pete,
Anderson,
Abruzzo,
Abruzzo
and
International
the
Balloon
Fiesta.
Museum.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, Fiesta's not in
Yep.
there because
No.
Fiesta's not. Yeah, it's confusing. I can't tell you how many people walk into our store and our office, which is just a half a mile, probably even a quarter mile down the road. Isn't this the museum? No, the museum's up the road.
Right.
And of course, then you get to the museum and you say, I'm looking for a Balloon Fiesta office. Oh, that's back the other way.
Right.
And so people get them all mixed
Well,
up.
downstairs earlier in the week, we had a whole group of tour people come into the center where we're at here, and they said, we're ready to go into the museum. And they were like, nope, wrong place. So cross the bridge.
Yeah,
But one of our faithful navigators took them over there. One of the thankless volunteers that comes out here and takes care of all of our guests at the National Fiesta.
Got a lot of folks here today. Always great to have a super crowd.
Well,
I'll have to say it again if I haven't said it on air. I believe that this job you do is much more difficult than what these guys are doing out there flying balloons.
Right about
Not only am I
Even though
hearing
they're working at it.
Yeah, they're working at it. It's a hard job, but flying. We have stuff flying at us in all directions. People talking in our heads. We're looking at camera angles, interviews. Diane, that's a handful in itself.
Damn.
Dos Equis and Meow Wolf and Salt Air all in the cold inflation.
And I see Sir Mix-a-Lot right there in the right-hand corner, right over
here.
here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the little white there. I was kind of looking down the field trying to see what that is. I guess that's is that the cab of the truck?
Yep, that's the cab.
Little window right there.
Yep. More west.
Again, as I point to the screen, like at least you can see where I'm pointing. So.
You shall see, my boy.
I keep feeling like the sun's trying to peek through those clouds. Just definitely lighting up. And yeah, even up higher, the balloon pictures are starting. The balloon colors are starting.
And that roar of the crowd is Mazoo lifting off of Fiesta Field at the Farewell Massachusetts. Natasha Stanky it's not Ron balloon. They get confused over the old Wells Fargo balloons, and she had Ron Sanders on his, so they're not confused when they're flying out there on the Mesa.
We saw that in the background of earlier, red and white. I was trying to remember who that was because Natasha's been flying her racer all week.
Yep.
I've been looking for her in that.
There's Matt Hurst. And again, Matt's a nomad, so I'm not really sure where Matt's living these days, but he was in Vegas. I had some nice dinners with him over the summertime out there. He's been flying out in Pahrump, Nevada.
Going back to Natasha, on our Tuesday competition, the Sid Cutter Memorial Task, she came flying right over the boat, took time to say, "Hi, Art," and then threw her marker. And if she had just thrown the marker and then said, "Hi, Art," she would have been in the boat as opposed to just off the end. And
well, now she's going to blame you for missing.
Well, she might. She might. Very gracious. She actually posted on Facebook, I think the day, well, that same afternoon, that it was a number of years ago. She was actually in California. She had to go back to work, had to leave. And she's driving up I-5, and she's listening to Balloon Fiesta Live, and she's listening to me describe the competition. And she said, I think I want to try that. And then here we were a couple of years later. She's flying right over the boat, and I'm calling the competition, talking about her coming in, and it just kind of was, it was the excitement and the connections there were not lost on her, and she posted that really nice post, and I definitely appreciated reading that.
We see Mazoo and Yan Ting Ling is the pilot in command. Taichung County, Taiwan.
I'm trying to remember, we haven't had balloons from China or Taiwan in years, so it's good to see them here.
Yep.
So I got 37%. I'll give it.
Sean Rea with the Salt Air balloon, the winner of that Sid Cutter Memorial Task I was talking about just a few moments ago. So he picked up $2,000, if I'm remembering correctly, for that win. I was thinking we need to bring up the overall. I didn't want a graphic here for you guys, so don't have to go look for that. But we paid down 14 places, and so in space number 10 was Steve Lombardi. 9th place was Bruce Wood. 8th place, Zach Burgess, who was also the only person to get a pole.
Right.
So in addition to his prize money for his 8th place, he picked up $2,000 for ringing the pole. Leroy Claire was in 7th. Amanda Brodbeck, who is the current women's national champion 2 years in a row, she ended up in 6th place. Zach Maxwell, a rookie competitor here at Balloon Fiesta. We talked about him coming over. He was in 5th place. Chris Clymer in 4th. Chris Smart in 3rd. Aaron Gebhardt in 2nd. And our overall champion for 2024, Cody Robinson, placing 1st, about 250 points ahead of 2nd place. So those 10 folks will have banners 1 through 10 when they come back in 2025.
And they worked really hard this year due to the fact that the weather was just not helping out, to be honest with you. And especially with the pole grabs on Thursday, they were just you have to make that legal descent across the 75-foot marker on the north end of the field, and it just did not have enough time to get in there and get over the field except one. And I believe that extra money, that's going to go to the talent of Balloon Fiesta Live.
Well, that's my pitch.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm putting that in. Henry Rosenbaum, who was just here on the stage, our Balloon Meister, from his angle, he has spotted a double X in the sky with the clouds.
Yeah, I think that's back behind us, unfortunately.
So, yeah. But what a great shot. Thanks, Henry, for sending us that. The X in the sky of clouds. So even on a Fairrail Mass Ascension, we've put the X in the sky. And here we are with our balloon camera. Pat Morgan has stood up the balloon. It is the Blue Nevada balloon. It's right in front of the Meow Wolf and the Dos Equis balloon. We were seeing Pat ready to go there. Our balloon camera, Travis, is going to fly with him again today. I assume Pat's going to take off. And we'll bring you a little in-flight entertainment from the comfort of your very own couch, or in the case of your wife, isn't she still in bed?
Down the wrong
Probably
fight.
with the dogs.
There's the official tower.
Yep, the eyes in the sky.
Like I swallowed my drink and hiccuped at the
There's
same
Henry
time.
right in the front there with the black beanie on. So. Yep, and Assistant Blue Master Peg Bilson right next to him.
She has the red hat on.
Safety right behind them, and then
with the glasses and no
there's
hat.
Brad Tiemeyer, the weather guru. With no hat. Thank you, Jennifer Garcia, Duncan, our other weather guy, and Don Day. And then a representative from the Federal Aviation Administration.
They're just 100 yards or so to our west.
I understand they used to be right in front of us. We used to have conversations with them.
We could literally talk to them from the roof here. And a little reconfiguration of sponsor hospitality tents, and so they moved just a little bit to the west.
Now you've noticed that the sun has crested the mountain. We're getting that color pop on the field. And it seems like the
this shit suck, bro.
At
1,800 feet, I'm going 33 knots from the south 18 ground
speed.
speed.
That is the variability of
like I found a sweet spot.
ALBUQUERQUE micro weather area that Brad talks about.
It's so light there isn't any.
None. Which with this many balloons is okay. If it had been yesterday or the day before, it creates a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Getting that many balloons out. And this is the time of morning where those people that either pulled the balloons out or had not taken the balloons off the truck are going, maybe I should still do that. And I'm not sure when they're going to close the field, but they still have the opportunity to.
Yeah, this is where you start to rethink, and sometimes we get these things we call sucker holes.
Yes.
Where you get this wind where it just stops and you say, you know what, now's the time, let's go. And by the time you get the balloon ready to go, the wind that had gone away is right back. And so it was a hole to sucker you in to get in the sky. So you do need to be careful about that. There's Smokey Bear with all the people taking pictures and looking up at the balloon. Smokey Bear, now this is the 3rd envelope for it. Brand new, made its maiden debut on Friday before Balloon Fiesta. So you see all these people here and you think, so what are they looking at? What are they looking? Well,
I think they're looking at Pat Irwin getting the balloon. Well, he's up, and I think that's inside.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're all wondering, okay, it looks like he's getting ready to go. Yep. There's Pat. Oh, and look inside that basket. Oh, okay, he's probably going to one up, I would think. Maybe there might be another one over on the west side.
Here's our launch director.
33% fuel and
get up.
29 knots from the south.
Last minute
16 ground
instructions.
speed
Remember,
is
I'm going to have you do
1731.
this. I'm going to walk you this way. It's going to look like this. We're going to do this. Thumbs up. That was that. Watch for that. Don't leave till you see that.
Yep. Don't lose eye contact with me. You're always watching that zebra out of the field.
Yep.
Easily spottable. And occasionally you'll have the guest run right in front.
Right.
That's
Yep,
okay.
that's okay, as long as you're not standing there when they take off.
Right.
And they got it. They hurried up.
Yep.
So we're going to continue to watch that launch director. He's checking to the left. He's checking to the right. Make sure there is no one.
And I can see that there's no one above the south.
And so there's the whistle. There is the thumbs up. That puts heat in the balloon.
You're flying.
There we go. We're airborne.
Pat Irwin in the Nevada born.
There ain't much shit over here to land, bro.
And there's the launch director. Have a good flight. As he
It
moves
ain't
on
much.
to the
They got power lines right here.
launch them. And look back at the crowd.
Lord have mercy. Man, I'll drop down, land in the helicopter.
A whole bunch of friends.
Yes, a lot of friends. A lot of guests. But they're not going to leave the farewell mass ascension disappointed.
Look down Main Street and Concession Row. Back across the field, you see all the people. Here's the shot from the ground. So there's Travis on the right, which is got the camera. Pat flying, rotating the balloon so it's the live. Yeah,
and now he's waving.
He's waving at us. Yeah, the Balloon Fiesta Live banner on the side of the balloon.
Great shot.
Yeah, look at that shot. There's
Look
the
at that
full-on
little field
shot.
right
So
there.
you see
There's
the
power
Battle
lines
Born
on right
logo
here.
on the side of that dark blue balloon.
I mean,
These guys were so excited yesterday after their flight, especially after they got
there
to
we
see
are.
us. Yep, they're back at us. So we need to wave
I
at
don't
him.
know.
We can stand up.
Oh yeah, we could.
We're
Yeah,
just gonna
that'll
wing
help
it.
us. Yep. So now we see them.
Without
They're
wings.
waving back at us too.
Yeah. You know, the FAA has made a couple of comments about us interacting with Moon pilots over the years, and so we try and keep that to a little bit of a minimum. But
well, we were talking maybe perhaps next year go down on the field and hop over off to the south side and then come back and join us.
someone wrote in here that we each need a day off to be able to go fly.
Well, that would be cool.
That would be cool. And
but then who would bring you all this crack information from the rooftop studio?
so now we're looking back. Remember, they were right next to Meow Wolf, right off the right-hand side of the screen. Dos Equis is now airborne.
I have a feeling in about 3 minutes, Pat's going to go up another couple hundred feet. We're going to see him come right back across the
He's still climbing as I turn around and look. He's still in an ascent, which is what we ask pilots to do. So he's doing, and there's the Balloon Museum. That's the grounds of the Balloon Museum. The actual building is just off the bottom. So he looks up. There's the field. And he can look back down as they go over the Balloon Museum. So the folks we said hi to at the museum, watching on Balloon Fiesta Live, smile. You're on Balloon Fiesta Live camera.
Yes. Picture perfect day in the Look at those folks.
Yeah.
And here's where the stop is for him. You guys can't see this on camera, but he is now coming back.
He just, Meow Wolf getting up, and he'll be up at that altitude shortly. He's going up just a little bit faster than Ron at all. Rick Kerber spinning the balloon for us using that turning bed.
The graphics it makes you look like the balloon is like, ruffling. But it's not.
Well, yeah. Not to the extent the design makes it.
And again, if you look right above him, there, it's got that east component again from a lot of steerage up there this morning. If you play it just right.
Look how slow Sean is going in Solaire.
Yep.
The chicken and egg is airborne as Duke City ready. Sir Mix-a-Lot stands up. Off his left side, there's the chicken and the egg.
Who's afraid of that?
You know, that was a little bit of a sucker hole because the breeze come back up. It's a really nice shot.
You can see how far that space around. It's got to be like 20, 30 yards. Even more. We're hearing a little bit of
the official radio. The landing's coming back in as balloons continue to do that box.
Here comes Pat Irwin right over the top of us again.
He's definitely been, There's kind of that stop layer. It's kind of almost like, it's like right between the north and the south layers. Picture number 933 today. There's a booth flying overhead.
I just got a text back from Matthew Grote, who was on our Dawn Patrol. Like, that's a fantastic photo.
Look at the shot down from our balloon camera.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see that big open space that you were talking about. Look at all the crowd around Sir Mix-a-Lot. What a great shot of the Duke City Ready Mix concrete cement truck.
It's headed right back over.
Yeah.
What if you can see us this time?
24% fuel.
There he goes. Oh.
Apparently there's an east wind at ground level. Which if that's the case.
So they have opened the field for landing now. And while all those balloons that took off earlier, their box was to the northwest. It has indeed straightened out. So Pat Irwin with our balloon camera going straight back to the north over the top of the field. So balloons on the field, going off to the south. We have that perfect shaped box happening right at the moment. It doesn't mean it's going to stay there, but it's definitely happening.
That's the joy and fun of flying in Albuquerque, because it's kind of like, wait a minute, it'll change. Makes it challenging, yet fun.
And that's the view of all those balloons in the sky that have gone out to the northwest.
All right, since we got an east wind.
Seasons balloon.
Ground.
There goes the pumpkin. Here comes the sun. As they continue to spin around, we'll see the daisy. And if we stay one more side on a round balloon, we'll see the snowman.
Ben Drennan.
Of course, he stopped spinning, so yeah.
Yep. So he could turn it.
He could keep going.
In fact, that balloon right to the left was a Krispy Kreme. They pulled out. This is a perfect example. And now they're flying.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is.
That's
with the giraffe there. We talked about them. They were glowing. We were seeing that nice glow as they inflated that balloon.
Yes, that's Wild Ride, David Markowitz. There's Snorkel.
And we're seeing the backside, the Seibel or Siebel ballooning. And you have all the water flowers, I guess those would be on the backside. Yep. There's the front side of the snorkel. Way up on the top of that.
Top to the right. Not that they wouldn't know this.
So they are telling the pilots that the field is open for landing. They would prefer that they land on the north or south end of the field. So Pat has continued, Pat Irwin, our balloon camera pilot, has continued to climb a little bit, and now that direct north that he had is now over to the northwest.
I knew that field had something wrong with it. Damn power tower in the middle of that.
Stop, then you turn around and go back north. Looks like there's a southeast layer up there before you go back to the northwest.
It's very thin. It's very ever changing.
Yeah, where do you want to go? Put your balloon at that altitude. You can probably get there. So we continue. continue to look back on the field. Still a dozen are in various stages of inflation. They may fly, they may not fly. We'll have to just continue to watch and see.
Vaporilla?
Yeah.
Michael Bertetto to the left. Nerfer. There's our batter ball. Battle board.
Camera you can see there.
We're about to
They
go
still look pretty
parallel
close
to
on
the
that camera view.
power line.
To the northwest. He's actually which means he's going to drop back into that. Those
Layer.
other layers either go
Bring it
north,
back towards us,
farther
yeah.
back down, come back our way.
As I'm looking out that way, there's a great shot. Look out that way. Don Martinelli and Don song. Not going anywhere, about 1,200 feet above the field.
So that balloon that we're looking at, the yellow one with that, I just call it a great geometric design with the turquoise and the red and white. That's Michael Spinello flying for his first time here. He's from Albuquerque. He calls it an Eye of Enchantment. Been seeing that balloon in the air around Albuquerque outside. Down the side of Duke City. Ready mix or serve mix a lot. There's Tall Steve.
Gonna go take a drink in the river, or at least try.
Or try. Hide in. Bobowski. Look at those teeth.
They have cowboy hats too. Look, here we go. On cue. No, he started to. There we go.
Yeah.
I think they're good friends with Tristan, right? So they have.
That's probably it. That's the deal. Some crew will come up with some. They are friends with other balloons. It kind of spreads to others. When I was flying back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was kind of this thing to have this little stuffed animal that you would either have it ride on the balloon with you, or in some cases out on the crown line. And a number of people were doing that. That kind of then went away, although I'm seeing a return to the little animals flying, holding on to the
little
uprights.
mascot.
Yeah, a little mascot.
There's Tall Steve again. Kind of partial to that. That's a great shot there. Looking right over the rooftop studio.
I like the registration number. Hada.
Hada.
H-O-T-A.
Encouraged to go now. Farewell Mass Ascension, yeah.
And a few, we're just going to stand it up. Let folks see the balloon. Get up close. A few more trading cards. Remember, you can pick up your official merchandise online at balloonfiestastuff.com. And for one day every week, it's been on for like 10 days. But there's one more day that if you go shopping at balloonfiestastuff.com, you'll be able to put in the discount code of Fiesta24 and save 10% on any of the sports food, so clothing, hats, jackets, any of that kind of stuff. Online, scan the code on the screen.
So apparently when you go down, the winds bring you back from the north to the south. So
put in the
I'm headed east right now on a lower altitude.
Get your 10% discount.
13, 17 knots.
Only,
As soon as I get to a certain level, it's going to kind of, I see this field over
get all
here.
that taken care of.
I got to land
and I would
here
suggest
shortly. I
that
got
while you're there,
15%.
make sure you're subscribed to
And then like maybe
What's Up
4%,
Wednesday to keep up to date on
fume
everything
burn.
that's happening in the store. Over merchandise on sale. You can What's Up Wednesday. What's that, Ted?
That's a great shot of Marissa Myers in Mars
You got to
Rover.
be careful with the power
She's from
tower.
Goshen Springs. That's a cloud hopper.
I saw her other balloon, the one with the Kachina on it, standing up earlier, and it didn't fly. And so,
I would do a little splash of dash right here.
After 9 days.
After 9 days. She's the new pilot coordinator
Before gravity
of
forces
the
me to land
balloon
myself.
rally that we've talked about numerous times. The first weekend in December, so she is the new pilot coordinator, taking over for Jennifer Lee, who has done a Billy remains the balloon meister out there, and of course Marissa's mom and stepdad have for some of the original people to put that on, Peter Procopio, and I just blinked out on his Colleen Myers.
There's Jaybird Mason and Flame On, I think that's the name.
Yeah, a little bit of power lines on
Jaybird
that side,
actually,
little smaller
flew,
ones,
the
little
Wolf
single
yesterday.
phases.
A memorial flight for his sister and his mother.
Wind has dropped down to 7, 6.
Downstairs earlier, and he's been around so long that he had this shirt on.
Almost there.
Black balloon.
Oh yes.
That had the Egyptian.
I think that was his second.
No,
balloon.
I don't need a
Yes,
Southeast
that's how
wind,
old.
bitch.
Yes.
And then Paul
No,
Smith walked upon us and
bad.
says, "Where did you get that?" Jay says, "I dug it out of the garage."
So yeah, Jaybird's 46th
I just
year
caught a
here.
fucking shoe,
Talking about
bitch. No. No.
I had a great commercial check, not a commercial check, right, but on the west side.
Sometimes the wind can be an asshole.
And we got up
I
in
just
the air.
got a big ol' updraft.
And Jaybird said, "You know what? I should have used
Big ass updraft. Fuck. Stupid ass shit. I got 13%. Now I got a northeast wind. The whole power jump station here. I mean, if I can get just a little bit over and slightly to the diagonal side of it, I can hop over those and drop in. But I have 11% fuel. I'm sitting over here like a jump power station. Fucking power lines everywhere. Oh, now I'm getting more east wind. Okay. Alright. That's a whole house. A lot of water down there though. A lot of power towers too. And power lines. Alright. So I think I'm about to be good here. If I get over these, this is my goal anyway. So one of these places I'm gonna get fine. Just need a little more push. Don't need a southeast wind push, bitch. Yes, sir.
not that they wouldn't listen to anybody, but being pilots, they're going to listen to another pilot. So they're listening to what we're calling down there, the knowledge that we have.
It's not just that it's down there in here today. We've been there. I've been on the floor and seen here. Yep. Iceland. So we do understand and have to do it. Something's going to not change on us, but we do have that experience to be able to tell folks we appreciate it. That's right, Smith has Smokey standing up, although he's looking the other way from that camera.
Ask and you shall receive.
Well, there's back in the side. Most of the time we see one side or the other. Still down here on the
next slot, that's Ron Sandy's right over there.
What that means is the pattern has run this far, and I looked down there, yep. And
field, there's our friend Debbie going.
Oh no. My boy took a whole different path on me. Oh no.
and a little pullback. You see the parking lots out there on the northwest corner of the field. Green flag remains up. Oh, look who's standing up next to the Bears. Ralph Kaiser.
Oh, yes.
Ralph.
That's a Viva Fest out there. Those are all Viva designed balloons from Cameron.
Which is a model of balloon.
Yep.
And the Bears are actually standing up. They're getting a synchronized inflation going on between the two Bear balloons.
So we can say Viva la Fiesta.
There we can. Come on, Ralph, catch up. Get there with them.
Okay, I see what you're doing. They got a field over here.
There they are. From the north. So Ralph is in the white with the reds on the left, a little farther.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, once you get like right around 600 feet, brother, like the whole thing just turns left. Like you go straight to from the east.
Able to see the basket. We can't tell you which
Let's see.
Hopefully it'll fly over here in a second.
I don't. I'm just checking for power lines. Your crew's got your drone out right now.
He's got a good view.
Yeah, dude, you look good over here.
Or she.
I don't see any real hazards besides the trees. Yeah, this is all yours over here, though.
That's gonna be a big hopper.
I'm back just in time. Good shit, bro. Good shit. Very freaking nice, my dude. That's the distance. Hold on.
I see one of the Rainbow Riders balloons coming.
That's the distance we were at. That's crazy. And now my damn stream's messing up again. I don't know why it's been doing it. I guess if it goes over 2 hours, it starts to do that shit. I've noticed. So I guess like every 2 hours or so, I have to like restart the stream. But man, Chips, it was nice flying with you again this morning. Definitely, we'll be back this afternoon. Same place, I guess. We'll just do the same place. Hopefully, it don't mess up. But yeah, man. Like, you have yourself an awesome kick-ass day, and I'll see y'all later on the night. We'll try to get everybody to group up again. We'll try to take off from the stadium as much as we can.